Okay, we're back to part 5 of how to weave a stuffed creature. I have got my weaving done. Yay! So this side, I went up to the tape. It's squished down as much as I can get it. It comes together at the bottom pretty much. You can see little gaps, but it's pretty good. And then on the long side, I wove up to here and then went back and forth on this side where we had run out of room on the other side. So we're all good. This is really, if I just took this off here and put a braided handle on it, we could have a little bag that you could carry your collectibles in, your special little objects. But instead we're going to stuff it and make it into a creature of some sort. This being an owl. You know, we have penguin, and we'll talk more about my decision-making process on the little parts that make them into the creatures. Okay, so let's get this guy off the loom. I finished weaving and I have my leftover weft there. And what I like to do is I just take my needle around where that warp that I finished on, and I just go under it again, and I get this big O. Can you see the big O? And then I just go under and through the O and up, and it ties a knot onto that warp. And so then that's tied off, and then I just trim, and now I'm ready to take it off of the loom. It's exciting. So what I start to do is I start to pull the tape off of the top where we kind of tape down those little notches where we strung on our warp so that they would stay on. So I just sort of finagle that off. I don't want to rip up my loom too much because I like to use these looms a couple times. I like to reuse them instead of having to cut a whole new loom. Then I do it again down here on our shorter side and get everything we taped. We're now untaping. So get those off. And then I want to untape those first tails that we taped down. And this side's a little bit easier. You kind of got to dig in the middle to get the other side. So I sort of just squish it open. And I dig down, I pull at my yarn until I can get that tail untaped and get it up and out. And you can see here he is. I've untaped him, and he's ready to come out of that notch and off the loom. So I'll start up here at the top stitches because I think they're a little easier to see. Let's get this tape out of the way. And I'll just start pulling them off over those little notches that we made. And so I pull my stitch towards the top and just pull those right off all the way across and get that little tail out. So now there's my flap. It's flapping around. And it has a loose warp over here. That was our tail, but it's tied to the weft, so we're all good. And then same thing on the inside. I just kind of reach in there and start pulling those little warp curves right off of those notches where we had strung them on. And it's, you know, you kind of got to dig in there, and it's not pretty. You just keep pulling them off till you get all those guys off the loom. You can see from this side, there they are. They're no longer a part of the loom. They're part of your creature. And I just keep going till I get all of them off. And I still have a loose guy here that needs to be tied on, and I'll show you what I do with him after I get this off the loom. Then I just start squishing my weaving off of the loom. I'm squishing down to the bottom, and I'm kind of pulling up on the loom. It's kind of a combination of the two, and I tend to weave really tight, so they're a little harder to get off than some. Some of you, it won't be so hard. And then I start kind of pulling down and just getting it off there till there's my bag. Yay. And I kind of moved those guys around. I'll move them back into place. What I love about this project is it's really forgiving. You know, we can hide all our knots. If something's a little out of place, you can kind of squish it back into place. So that's our, now it's like a little bag. Again, if I put a handle on this guy, like I braided a fun yarn piece, I could put it over my shoulder. I could button it down. But again, my knots are all showing, so I want to turn it inside out and just hide my knots away. So easy and fun. But I still have one little thread that needs to be tied down, and I just tie it to the notch right next to it. So it's kind of hard to see with that blue. Let me move that away, and you can see there's the little curve from the notch that was over next to this guy, and I just bring him through, and I now have like a little O.